We love Classical Conversations.
Your organization is known worldwide, and we certainly appreciate every facet that you do.
I do believe in what you're doing because I've seen it in my family.
I'm so excited about all the things that, Robert, you guys do with Classical Conversations. It's been a huge blessing for our family.
Grateful for the work at Classical Conversations. You're a leader, and you have been in this movement for a long time.
I do feel like I have a debt of gratitude to you, your family, all of CC for just the fruit that has come from CC.
Appreciate all that you guys do, both through this wonderful podcast and also through Classical Conversations, which I am convinced is the best education resource out there. Thank you very much for all that you do for the cause of Christ and for our families and for our children. Really, really appreciate it.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Refining Rhetoric. Today, my guest is Joseph Jackson. Joseph was elected vice president of TeenPact, and he's a Classical Conversation student, soon to be alumni. And he said, through the dynamic experiences, TeenPact seeks to inspire youth in their relationship with Christ and train them to understand the political process, value their liberty, defend the Christian faith, and engage the culture around them. And Joseph, I'm excited to hear all about TeenPact and your journey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've grown up in Durham, North Carolina all of my life. I've been raised up through the Classical Conversation system since I was 6 years old. And it's had really a profound impact on me as an individual, but also using those skills and those things I've learned through Classical Conversations have had a lot of application as I've come into this super awesome thing called TeenPact as well.
Nice. And so tell us a little bit about what TeenPact is for those who might not be familiar. And then, then we'll dive more into what it means to be vice president.
Yeah, absolutely. So TeenPact is a Christian government and leadership school geared towards students between the ages of 13 and 19. The goal of the program is essentially to equip students well to understand the connection between faith and politics in a world where that is not a popular ideal at all. We strive to equip students well to go out from our 1 week ready to engage the culture in a way that is countercultural and difficult at times. It is certainly something that we pride ourselves on pushing forward in a countercultural sort of manner. We teach students what it's like to learn the branches of government, what it means to be a lobbyist, little things that even some adults in today's world don't even know, all come together to give students an understanding of what that political process looks like.
Nice. And is it a week-long camp, or is it like something you do throughout the school year, or a mixture of both? What's the dynamics of it?
Yeah, so we have our students meeting. So our biggest event, our events that we do in each individual state are called TeenPact state classes. And at these state classes, in each state across the United States, we have a class that typically runs from Monday morning until Thursday afternoon, 1 week in the spring semester of the school year. Students will come in that morning and have the opportunity to kind of get to know each other, play some games, kind of get interacting well. And then from there, we kind of dive into a curriculum that is both rich in education for the student from a political standpoint, but also rich spiritually, showing us how Christ is involved even in those processes that oftentimes we get told are devoid of Christ altogether.
Mm. Now, when did you start? Did you start when you were 13 years old?
Yeah. So I ended up starting in the program, I think it was 2022. I went to my first state class. I, unlike a lot of people, really, really wanted to be there. I've always been a bit of a politics nerd, had a real passion for just learning about the government, how things work, and things like that. And so when my mom presented me with this opportunity and said, "You're going to this thing," I was absolutely so excited. But coming into that week, I don't think I could have known how much of an impact that program could have had on my life. I came into that week, didn't really know anybody there, just kind of was having little conversations, getting to know people. The staff team was so friendly and welcoming to me, and made it so easy for me to want to interact and want to engage. And over the course of the week, I made friends that I'm still in contact with today. And learned so much about what it means to be a follower of Christ in our embattled world and how to engage the culture. And it was just something that I always wanted to do more of, but I felt like energized to actually take on that responsibility and push it forward. I oftentimes see in our culture people don't believe in the youth, don't believe in their ability to do things. And that week, that first week at TeenPact, really established for me that actually we have a lot of ability. We are only limited by the restraints we put on ourselves and the things we say we can't do. So that week was just an incredible time for me and really set me up for the beginning of my journey in TeenPact.
That's great. How did you feel like you were prepared for Teen Pack coming from a classical conversations background?
Yeah, I think coming into that week, some of the things we do during the class time require us to have back and forth debates or have conversations about super hard topics. And I think CC's system of having Socratic dialogues, I think, has had probably the biggest effect on my life of anything from the classical conversations system. I think just that concept of not really having everything like fully memorized and fully prepared, but just being ready to engage well, really set me up well at TeenPact events. I remember we have, there's a podium and you have to go speak up on the podium to defend your side on an issue that they've done split the room on. And, people around me are super nervous, like not ready to go engage and talk on the stand. And because of the background that I had, I was like, oh, this is normal. This is the thing I get to do all the time. Like, I'm so ready to do this. And I feel like that 100% came from years upon years of practicing public speaking skills and doing repetition over and over. I may not have appreciated it as much then, but now I see the value to that. And that program really kind of gave me a platform for that.
Yeah, I know I hear from parents all the time. We're looking at CC, that uniqueness of having that weekly presentation, even starting as young as 4, 5, 6 years old, and just what a benefit that is. Because if we can be, we got to be clear communicators for Christ, and that means we got to cultivate those skills. And of course, we do that inside of the Classical Conversations program. Oh, when did you decide you wanted to become part of TeenPact leadership? And what did that process look like?
Yeah, so I've told this story to many of my friends many times. There are parts of it that I am super proud of, and some that I'm not so much of. But at the end of the day, it is my story, right? Yeah, absolutely. So after that first class, the coordinator for the event, the person kind of running it from an adult standpoint, came to me during the week and said, "You should apply for staff with this program. I see some abilities in you, some talents, and I am coming to you because I feel called to share this information with you." And I distinctly remember this moment. She said these things to me, and what I did, I just laughed in her face. I literally just laughed. I was like, "Oh, there's no chance. Absolutely not. I'm too young to be doing this. I don't have blah, 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 X, Y, Z. I don't have those talents." And so I just kind of laughed it to the side and put it to rest. Now, TeenPact has an event called National Convention where students from across the country come together for one big event in Cleveland, Tennessee, all together, where we get to hear from speakers, engage in elections, and do a number of other really exciting things like playing sports and just have time of fellowship. It's a beautiful event. But I was convinced to go to that event after attending my state class. And at that event, this person who was the coordinator for that event came and found me yet again. And she came to me once again and she said, "Hey, I see something in you. You should apply for staff." And this time I was like, all right, if the Lord's telling me something twice, then I need to listen up. And so I ended up filling up an application after that week, had an interview, and ended up applying for staff with TeenPact. I got accepted to staff that fall, attended staff training with TeenPact in January, and then staffed 2 of those state classes in North Carolina in 2023. And then I reapplied for staff this past year and once again staffed classes in Tennessee and North Carolina this year. And then I have been accepted to staff once again. So I'll be back this next year. to run that program back. I think the reason why I wanted to staff what had a lot to do with how I had seen other people who were staffing impact others, and the way that the Lord uses those who humble themselves. I had seen that really manifested in others, and it was eye opening to me. And I was honored to even have the opportunity to do the same. And it has been one of the most stretching things I've ever done in my life, staffing those classes. But it has made me more into the man I want to become one day, and truly developed my character in ways that I literally would have never imagined beforehand. It's been a beautiful, beautiful journey, though.
Mhm. Well, before we got on, you talked about how you're wanting to pour back into people. Like, why do
Yeah.
you think as Christians and it's so important to mentor and to talk about what we believe and why we believe it with others?
Mhm. Yeah. I think the reason why that stands to be so important is because communication is so vital and so important to how we interact as human beings. I think we are also called as Christians to be in community and to desire to interact with one another. And so faith is both it is a personal experience, but also is a calling to engage with one another in communities. And so I know for me, like, I think that first and foremost, community should be in church, right? I think that's where that should start. But having other communities where you get to have faith impacted conversations that maybe challenge what people believe and challenge the thoughts that you have, those build you up and make you stronger for when, more challenges come down the line. I know for me, as I'm a senior in high school, the conversations I've had at TeenPact events, conversations I'm having in life right now, about hard things with fellow believers, even non-believers, are really equipping me for the kind of leader that I will be outside of my own home. And as I kind of move more into adulthood, right? Those conversations, particularly I think for this range that we try to target with TeenPact, those 13 to 19-year-olds, it clicks something there. It gets something started. It lights a spark. And when you get that spark lighted, people start to, run after it and have a desire to grow even more. And so just seeing that desire at TeenPact has made me want to engage more with the culture at home, in my circles with my friends, in my own classical conversations classroom. It's honestly it's been such an eye-opening experience.
That's great. What roles and responsibilities does the VP have, and
Mhm.
what have you learned through that experience?
Yeah. So I was elected vice president of TeenPact in May of this year. Our terms for the whole year. And essentially what my responsibilities looks like is primarily like assisting and coming alongside the president, my good friend. But we do a lot of things in tandem together, just working on one, putting forth our executive order, which is essentially a decision that we get to put together where we're looking to have some more devotionals on our website at TeenPact, and just yet another way to engage others and to engage people who might not even be looking for God's word, but they might even stumble upon it. And so we're kind of working on that right now. We also are doing promotional things for TeenPact, just kind of being a voice for the organization, being a spearhead of sorts. We also run a team of senators and representatives who are working kind of in regional areas to connect with their regional coordinators and such to promote TeenPact in those different areas, and just put the organization on its front foot and continue to kind of push us forward as a group. A lot of the work is behind the scenes. Not a lot of people know about it, but a lot of it is lots of emailing, lots of text messages back and forth about things that need to be accomplished. It's tiring at times, but it has definitely been rewarding so far. Just having that opportunity to maybe pull back the curtain a little bit and see the impact that we really can have.
Hey everyone, I wanted to jump in and tell you about our 2025 National Commencement. It is scheduled May 16th and 17th, 2025 in sunny Southern Pines, North Carolina. Presented by the Classical Conversations Foundation, This is a time for CC families from around the nation to celebrate together with fellow families on the homeschooling journey. Plus, there's a lot more to this agenda, including a welcome celebration, Q&A time, and opportunities for the graduates to get to know each other, as well as our 2025 National Memory Master Championship. So if you have a student graduating in the spring of 2025, please plan on joining us in North Carolina for the National Commencement Weekend. Those dates again are May 16th and 17th. Registration is open. You can learn more at classicalconversationsfoundation.org. That's classicalconversationsfoundation.org. We hope to see you and your family there. Let's celebrate together. Now, let's jump back into the show. Now, you talked about a national event. I was just curious, did you meet other Classical Conversations students there from other areas? Or are you the lone wolf representing CC and TeenPact?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a ton of CC students at TeenPact events. I think at National Convention, there were probably like over a couple hundred there. Like people in various classical conversations communities. I have friends who are doing CC from Oklahoma, Arkansas, Virginia, various states. It's really cool to come to an event where we're there with a different program, but like I've been at a TeenPact event before, and someone has been humming the Timeline song in like the back of a van or like on a walk somewhere, and like someone else chimes in, and it's like, I know we know the same thing. It's really cool to see how like the whole program has like it's such widespread influence, and it's definitely really cool to come together and have those conversations about things we've learned. Definitely broadens the perspective I have on what classical conversations can be and what it is, right?
Nice. We have an election this fall, and looking at different statistics, some people say 30% of people who go to church don't vote, or there's 20 million Christians that don't vote. Obviously, TeenPact's involved in and believes that it's important for us to be, good participants in our republic, and we have a civic duty. So, what would you say to someone who's, saying, I'm not going to vote. God's going to do whatever He's going to do, and my vote doesn't matter, or Christians shouldn't get involved in politics. What are some responses or thoughts you have on that?
Yeah. I think we live in a country with unprecedented rights. And to not take grasp of those rights and to just kind of let them go in the wind is honestly like kind of saddening to me. I think as American citizens, we have this strong responsibility to vote. And that's as American citizens. But I think as Christians, we have, dare I say, even stronger of a responsibility to vote, because as members of this republic with rights, we have our faith is on the line. The things we believe are on the line. I am a firm believer that if you believe in something, but you're not willing to fight for it, and you're not willing to go to the polls for that issue, how much do you really believe in that thing? Like, how much of your heart is truly behind that? And that's been something that's been on my mind a lot recently as I've had conversations with people, who maybe aren't as interested in voting or things like that. It's voting and having those opportunities to engage in elections are like a call. It's like a call to action in my mind. A call to question and say, well, what do I believe, and what will I not stand by and watch? And things like that are really why I think voting is important. And that's not to say I can understand why some people might not want to come to the polls and things like that. I see those people. I hear those needs. But I just think that the responsibility we have and the rights that we've been given are too great and beautiful not to be used. So.
Well, as a senior, I'm sure you're thinking about the future. So, like, what are you thinking about? What you're going to go do next? Are you going to just run for office, go to college, start a business? What are some of those things you're interested in doing?
Yeah, I have a lot of different kinds of passions and things like that. I have a really big passion in more of the behind the scenes aspects of politics. I kind of want to engage in that space, maybe in more of a backseat kind of nature, if possible. I also really love pouring back into others and into students. So I really have an interest in possibly becoming a dean of student affairs one day at a university where I can really have an impact and let my actions kind of speak louder than even the words that I say. But for now, just trying to make it through senior year and all the hurdles that I might present. I'm in the process of applying for college and all of those different things. It's definitely been a lot of different steps and a lot of different things going on. But I'm reminded again and again after late night of working on things that the Lord provides and is good and sticks with me even in the midst of some hard moments. But I'm really excited for this next couple years of my life, kind of taking these skill sets that I've developed and have been nurtured in me and unleashing them on the world, to be entirely honest. No longer just letting it sit at home, being a voice for what I believe. So.
Mhm. Nice. Now, I know not all students necessarily do this, but are you working on a senior thesis?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In the process of formulating ideas for that senior thesis right now. I have so many different things I'm interested in. So we definitely got to hammer out like what the specific thing will be come our abstract deadline. But right now, I have a very keen interest in the Tuskegee Airmen and the syphilis
Mhm. Yeah.
epidemic.
Mhm.
And just exploring the history of malpractice in medicine and how that has stigmatized the culture is kind of one of the things that I'm
Yeah.
really interested in right now. And it's just been a process that deeply intrigues me every time I do more research. So maybe we'll stick with that. I have no idea though. As time progresses, we'll get closer to that deadline and I'll hammer it out. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be interesting. I took, a lot of people don't know, I was doing classical conversations. We didn't have classical conversations plus and stuff like that going on.
Right.
So I went to Winston-Salem State University to do my dual enrollment back
Hmm.
then. And my very first class was African American history and, just learning about the airmen and some of the things that
Hmm.
they went through and those
Yeah.
discrimination and some of those things and just kind of helps you understand, the
Yeah.
background more. And so, yeah, I
Right.
think that would be a really interesting project to do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm dual enrolled as well, doing those things right now at my local community college. It definitely adds yet another place to take that CC influence and those skill set and apply that well.
Nice. Well, make a pitch for TeenPact. If there's a person listening, they got a teenager, they don't know if they should
Hmm.
send their kids to TeenPact or not. Give us a pitch and give us a website where they can go learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the thing that sets TeenPact apart is nowhere else have I seen, and I've looked quite thoroughly, nowhere else have I seen a place where Christians engage in community in such public and incredible ways, specifically with this youth. The youth in our society today get pretty low expectations placed on them. The standard isn't very high. People don't expect much. Teen Pact challenges this concept of laziness or I just don't do much, and pushes for what we call Christ-like excellence. It's such a huge theme through every Teen Pact event that we have and a place where we meet and things like that. And we talk about excellence all the time. And it plays out in the ways that we engage. I think about an example of on Teen Pact classes, we do something called prayer walks. We take students and we go to the Capitol and we walk into the different buildings in the Capitol and we pray directly outside of those buildings, inside those buildings, in the seats of our governing officials, being bold for Christ. I remember the first time I did this, I thought this was terrifying. I was like, we can do this? Like, we're allowed to pray in this area? But the more times I've had that opportunity,
Mm.
the more I've grown fond of it. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing when we can see the freedoms afforded us in this country and the way that Christ plays into all of that as well. And just seeing that on state classes and getting to have those opportunities is a beautiful thing about TeenPact that I wish so many more people knew about. Your students will be equipped to not just be of this world, to not be of this world, but to be in this world, following passionately after Christ, breaking down barriers and being countercultural Christians in a way that is uncanny. It is truly a beautiful program, and we've got all kinds of different people who would love to connect with you, have those conversations. We've seen students go on and do incredible things, become secretaries of state and be senators and things like that. It is, as an organization, a launch pad. Is the way that I like to describe it. We set students up well to start that spark, to ignite that passion, and to lead out into the rest of life with a full head of steam towards Christ and his kingdom. The best place to learn more about TeenPact is going to be teenpact.com. That's just TeenPact.com. We've got lots of information about our state classes that happen regionally in each state in the weeks that those happen. And once you've been to one of those events, you can go to one of our alumni events, which happen at various times during the summer and focus on different portions of the government and how they operate and run. It's a beautiful organization that the Lord has blessed in many ways and is always seeking to have more opportunities to engage with this generation well.
All right, so go to teenpact.com. Of course, we'll put the notes, that website in the show notes. Joseph, thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to seeing, your success, what God has for you in the rest of your life. And make sure everyone who's a Christian should go register and go vote your faith.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining Refining Rhetoric today. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. We'd love to hear your comments if you've been involved with TeenPact, what your experience has been like. And as always, until next time, God bless.
Thank you for listening to Refining Rhetoric with Robert Bortons. Want more? Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss an episode. You can also follow us on social media to continue the conversation and visit classicalconversations.com/rhetoric to find out how you can join a local homeschool community.